How you doing? I'm your boy B-bgrynch, coming to you live from no other place than the south central part of Coral Springs in sunny South Florida. That's right. Thank you for tuning in to UnderGround Live, show 617, where we're going to be discussing booty calls, fuck buddies, and one-night stands. That's what tonight is about. But first, before we get into that, I want to know why a Florida doctor gets arrested for selling meth. Now, apparently, he has no patience for having no patience during this COVID-19 pandemic. Excuse me. Anyway, how you doing? Nice of you to join us. So, he gets busted for selling meth. Apparently, he's good at pushing the paper, handing out prescriptions. How you doing, Bonnie? But he's no good at selling meth. I think he should stick to what he's doing and possibly just stay away from the meth and stick with the pencil and the pad and just write prescriptions. Why would you want to do that? What's up, Tyler? How's it going, my man? So, yeah, that's just crazy to me. Bonnie's here. Beth Lovelady is here. Fucking, we got everybody here. You guys just want to hear about booty calls, fuck buddies, and one-night stands. I get you. But before that happens, I got to tell you a little story about what happened to me today. You know, I had my old cool watch that I replaced with this new cool watch. I went to a pawn store. I should have sold it, on my own. But I needed the money, quick. Because, let's face it, Anarchy Media, it's not doing so good. The podcast is doing great, actually. But we needed some money. So I needed some money. So I go to a pawn store to sell the watch. And the representative that I speak to, he has a fucking crooked eye. All right? The eye is facing due left and probably down about 3 millimeters or so. So I'm saying to myself, how the fuck does this guy see? Does he see straight? Or does he see straight with the right eye, and the left eye, is he looking at the floor? And although I think it's funny, I'm really questioning it in my head. And he's actually looking at my watch, and he has it up to his good eye, and he's surveying it, and he's, giving it a good look at with his one eye, and I'm staring at the droopy eye because his one eye is taken. And I can't help. How you doing, Sarah? Nice of you to join in. I can't help but look at his droopy ass eye. So when he pulls the watch away from his good eye, this motherfucker tells me he wants to give me $25 for it. I'm like, yo, dude, that's a $300 watch. What the fuck are you talking about? $25. He's like, yeah, man. It's on eBay for like $100. We sell it for like 80. All you get is 25. I'm like, give me back that fucking watch. So I went to another pawn store. They offered me $35 for it. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. So I actually brought the watch home. It's here. I'm going to sell it like on Facebook Marketplace or something. Get my $100 for it, my $120 for it. Anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that. You guys want to get into the story, don't you? All right. So let's not waste any more time. Booty calls, fuck buddies, and one-night stands. All right. I've been waiting to do this show for a while. As you can see, I'm not in my normal studio. What's up, Brian? How you doing? I'm in a different studio, which brings me back to the old days, like when I was in my bedroom. I'm taking it back, old school. And we're going to have a good time tonight because I'm tired of getting low numbers. I hope you guys share this show because, yeah, this show's going to be worth sharing. So anyway, I'm going to talk about some booty calls first, okay? No, actually, I'd like to get into one-night stands first. I'm sorry. Booty calls will come after that. But one-night stands, we've all been in them, I'm sure you guys have been in one-night stands. Maybe not as much as I have, but I'm sure we've all experienced a one-night stand. You guys know what a one-night stand is. It's when you meet somebody for the first time and you fuck them and you never see them again. A one-night stand. So I've thought of all the one-night stands that I've had, which a lot of them I can't possibly remember because I've been in a few. But James, what's going on, James? Nice of you to tune in. But I thought of the top 3 that I could remember. And I'm going to tell you that, thank you, Sarah, for sharing. So you guys got to share the show, man. I got to get the numbers up. I'm not in the old studio because, I don't know, I think it's cursed or it wasn't christened right. Therefore, here I am. Nice, right? Comfortable. My brother used to come in from New York, okay? He used to take the red eye. He would get here very, very late at night. And we always, when he would come in, I would always pick him up. This is when I drove, of course. This is back in the 90s. And yes, the fucking 90s, when some of you guys were kids. When I go to pick him up, it was time to get drunk. And it was time to go to a club and do our thing. So when he would come in and I'd pick him up from Fort Lauderdale International Airport, we had our spot, which was Baja Beach Club. It was a club that I would frequent, and it was big, huge club, you know, full of women, beautiful women, Fort Lauderdale women, you know. There were other clubs to go to in Boca and here and there, but we liked Baja Beach Club, which is now a Target. Anyway, I'd meet a lot of girls. I did very well at Baja Beach Club. And if I got drunk enough, I'd actually start dancing. So I'm actually dancing with this girl. If I remember her name correctly, her name was Jennifer. Okay. And we're dancing. We're having a good time. We're having a great time, actually. And we're talking and we're dancing and I'm, you know, grinding with her and she's putting her ass up against me. And it was a lot of fun. So naturally, when it started getting late, I asked her, hey, now, mind you, she was with a friend of hers and I'm with my brother. Okay. My brother is staying with me. Okay, my son was not home. My son had to be like 2 at the time. He was being watched by my parents because I had to go pick up my brother from the airport. So those were the days. Anyway, I asked her, I said, hey, why don't you and your friend come back to my place? I live in South Central Coral Springs. And we'll hang out for a little bit. And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. So her and her friend get in their car. Me and my brother get into my car. And they follow me back to my house. So my brother and her friend, well, they disappear into my son's room, which I don't think my brother got laid. I think they were just talking, you know, because, I don't know, it'd just be weird to get laid in a room of a 2-year-old that the carpet was like a town with streets and all the toys in there. Where's South Central? University in Royal Palm, baby. That's where South Central is. Coming from fucking Oakland Park. You have the nicest house in Oakland Park, Tyler. I can tell you that. Anyway, this girl Jennifer and I, we're out on my patio, and we're talking, smoking a couple of cigarettes. Of course, the first question that they ask when they get here is, you got alcohol? I'm like, of course I got alcohol. So her and I are drinking a beer, having a couple of cigarettes, and this girl actually said to me, she says, can I kiss you? So I'm like, fuck yes you can. So she leans over the table, and she gives me a kiss. Next thing I know, we're in my bed, okay? Now, I've had of picking women up. I was a lot bigger back then. Carrying them into my bed. I think I might have knocked your head, actually, on the door frame, which we got a little bit of laughs and lashes out of. But we went to bed, and yes, man, I slept with her, and it was great. It was absolutely unbelievable. So unbelievable, in fact, that the next day was a Jewish holiday, and I was due to have dinner at my parents' house with my son and my brother and everything. And the sex was so good with this girl that I couldn't help but ask her, how would you like to come to dinner tomorrow night at my fucking parents' house for the Jewish holiday? And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, man, come to the Jewish holiday dinner with me. You know, be my date to my fucking parents' house. And you know what she says? She says yes. So she comes to my parents' house the very next night to celebrate the Jewish holiday. I think it was Passover. And I'm not really sure. My son was cute as fuck. He was wearing a tie and suspenders. He was only like about 2 at the time. So, yeah, she comes. We have a great time. And she bounces back to my place with me where we have more sex. So she ends up leaving. I got to fucking nail this girl twice. Okay? Now, I'm a romantic. I really am. So 3 times a charm. I wanted to get with her one more time. Now, I knew she told me where she worked, which is in Plantation, probably about 15, 20 minutes from where I live. So I go to Publix, the store right across the street from me, and I grab a rose. And I go to where she works. And the idea was to wait until she got out of work and then surprise her with a flower, with a rose. See, the thing is that I was there when she was supposed to get off, okay? But she didn't come out of the place. Nobody was coming out of the place after they closed. So I had to wait. And wait I did. An hour goes by. I'm sitting in the parking lot by myself. An hour and a half goes by. Now, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to take a leak. Okay. I can't go into the restaurant to take a leak because then I ruin the surprise that I'm there. And I don't want to get out of my car and take a leak because my luck, plantation police will drive by and I'll get arrested for, urinating in public. And that just can't happen. So considering the fact that my son was 2, I had little juice boxes all over the fucking car. I didn't keep my car that clean back then. I mean, my son was, throwing shit all over the place. So I grab a juice box. I get this great idea. How about I open the top of the juice box and I just piss in the juice box? Seems like a good idea to me, and I could dump it out the door. So I take out my penis and I begin to urinate into the top of this juice box. And I'm listening to it fill up. And you can hear it actually filling up. And I'm waiting for the perfect time to stop peeing so I could dump it out, then continue peeing again. But it never sounded like it was at the top. Now, what actually happened was it was tilted because I'm sitting in the driver's seat of my car. And what it was doing was it was spilling over onto my seat into my fucking lap. I was pissing on myself all over the fucking seat. What's up, Mindy? Nice of you to join in. And I literally pissed all over myself because it was coming out of the juice box and spilling, what's up, Becca? Spilling all over me. So now I'm full of piss. My pants are soaking wet. I'm very, very upset. And it ruined the surprise because I wasn't about to stick around and see her with piss in my pants. So I left. But that was actually a 2-night stand that I got to endeavor. Very, very funny. Yes. So yeah, that was one of my 1-night stands. Anything ever happen like that to you guys? I don't know. How you doing, Christy? Nice of you to join in. Lovely Christy is here. So this is a really funny 1-night stand that I did not actually end up having, but it was supposed to happen. Once again, my brother comes in from New York and we go to Baja Beach Club in Fort Lauderdale, Oakland and Federal. It's a Target now. So after being there for a couple of hours, after having a couple of drinks and whatnot, I meet this girl who's there with her friend. My brother's talking to her friend. We're sitting on these stools because Baja had like a bunch of different bars in there and, different environments where it just wasn't the dance room, the dance club. It actually had a place where you can go and get fucking like slushy drinks and you can go and get this kind of drink and that kind of drink. So we went to a quieter part of the club and we're sitting on these stools. And of course, back then, like I said, I was a lot bigger. This is, in the 90s. So of course, like fucking a moron, I have my shirt buttoned down a little bit so you could see my chest. And she begins to unbutton my shirt and she's feeling my chest. And this girl, she's fucking pretty hot. She's saying, oh my God, your chest is fucking hot. You're so fucking hot. And all she's doing is complimenting me and feeling the muscles, my pecs. And she's feeling my arms. And then, of course, she puts her hand on the inside of my thigh. So I'm like, hey, before this goes any further, why don't we go back to my house? So she's like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. So her and her friend and me and my brother were walking out to our cars and we're in the parking lot. And as they're walking to their car, after feeling me up, grabbing the inside of my thigh, right next to my pecker, okay, enough so I got a boner, all right, she was close. So she then tells me, I just want to let you guys know we're going back to your house, but I don't sleep around. I'm like, what? She doesn't sleep around. It's like, okay, now I've heard it all. Okay, you basically molested me inside the club, but you don't sleep around. I'm like, this bitch is crazy. And then she asks me, she's like, by the way, would it be okay if we spent the night because we're from Orlando and we need to leave the next day? I'm like, look, this bitch is crazy. There's no way you're sleeping over my house and I'm not getting laid. It's just that simple. It's not going to happen. So me and my brother get into our car and they're following us. And all of a sudden, I bang a left turn, I bang a right turn. I end up losing them. Okay? The only thing is that I gave them my number. So I get home, we end up losing them, and they call me, and they're like, where are you at? And I'm like, oh man, we lost you, and, it's just not going to work out tonight. And like, but we need a place to stay. You see, they were using sex as a ploy to squat at my house for the night. I just wasn't down with that. The girl molested me. She violated me. And I was down with that. But she wasn't up to have sex. I'm sure I could have banged her. But I wasn't going to take a chance. You're not sleeping in my bed with me, and I'm not getting my cock wet. I'm sorry, but yeah. When it comes to one-night stands, that's what one-night stands are all about. So it wasn't happening. Yeah, so that was a one-night stand that actually did not happen. And this is a great story, actually, okay? This is a one-night stand that didn't happen. One-night stands, I can tell you about 1,000 of them, but the ones that didn't happen are really funny. So I used to go to this club called Premier. It's still around, you know. That's in Northwest Coral Springs. Nice club. It's a billiard club. You play pool there. You dance there. You get drunk there. I actually almost had sex on a table there with another friend that was in the music business with me. And her and I were drunk, and we had to get separated by staff because I had her on top of a table and we were going at it, and it was quite fun. We went back to my house and had sex, but nevertheless, this bartender was smoking hot. And I used to hit on this bartender all the fucking time. If I was there, I was hitting on this bartender because she was unbelievable. And every time I'd go there, I'd make sure I sat at the bar to hit on this bartender. She was always there. So one night after a couple of weeks of me going there, she actually says to me, she's like, "Hey, Bri." She's like, "You want me to come over after work tonight? I get off at 2:30. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Of course I want you to come over. Of course I do. Hey, Cheyenne, nice of you to join us." So I give her directions to my house, and about 3:30, she ends up showing up. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know I'm cool. I know I'm gorgeous. And I know how to talk. But I am not an icebreaker, okay? I'm not an opener. I'm a closer. Like, I can start a conversation, but when it comes to sex, you know, because I'm a little bit afraid of rejection. How horrible it is to be rejected. One time, I actually went out with this girl, and we're going at it, and I put my hand on her breast, and this girl just about had a heart attack. I'm not like that. I'm like, "You have 3 kids. How can you not be down with that?" But she wasn't. That kind of put the fear into me of, you know, not getting involved in that kind of situation. So this beautiful bartender comes over to my house, 3:30 in the morning, and I'm not about to make the first move because I don't want to be halted, you know. So we're sitting there and we're talking. We're on my couch and we're pretty close. And you know something? It goes right over my head that she's there to fuck. You know, she ended up leaving at about 5 o'clock in the morning after a nice conversation. But she was there to fuck. And I never got laid. I didn't get to fuck her. It was so bad. Then I went back to the bar the next day to apologize to her. She wanted nothing to do with me. Can you believe that? It was almost like the time that I went to my friends. There's a bunch of towers across the street from me. Before I lived in the place that I lived in now, I lived with my parents. You know, I was a teenager. I used to buy pot from my friend Jay. And at one time he lived, you know what, maybe I did live here. I don't know. It was a long time ago. But he lived in the apartment complex across the street, the towers. And I'm supposed to meet him at the pool area. Now, I'm at the pool area, and there's this gorgeous, gorgeous woman in a bikini. And she asks me, she's like, I'm waiting for fucking Jay to get there. He never shows up. So the girl asks me, "What are you waiting for?" So I'm like, "Hey, do you know my buddy Jason so-and-so?" She's like, "No, but, you know, maybe you should give him a call." Now, cell phones were not around back in like 1994, you know, so she asked me if I wanted to come up to her apartment and make a phone call with her phone. So I'm like, "Hey, yeah, that'd be great." So I'm following this girl who has a beautiful ass. She's in a bikini. And she brings me up to the house, her apartment, and I'm making my phone call, and she starts getting undressed in her bedroom right in front of me. But once again, I fucking choke. She was totally DTF. But I wasn't going to take a chance in having the police called on me for rape. See, if she would have made the first move or come out of her room naked, that would have been enough for me to know that she wants to fuck. But she never did. She just changed in front of me. Maybe she was putting on a show. I don't know. That's how I took it. So I didn't catch the bait. Probably I could have gotten laid, but, oh, Tyler's calling me a pussy. You know what? I probably was. Nowadays, Fernanda, how you doing, sweetheart? Fernanda just came in the room. My girl from São Paulo, Brazil. I got to tell you guys about Brazil in a little bit. But, yeah, another time that I didn't get laid because what can I say? I guess like Tyler is putting it, I was a pussy. Nowadays, I don't really care. So therefore, I'll jump right in. But I'm a much better closer than I am an opener. My ice-breaking skills are good when it comes to conversation. But girls nowadays, especially here in Florida, they're fucking weird. They're so weird, in fact, that you can't read them correctly. You'll go up to a girl that is obviously single, there with her friend and maybe a guy, and you'll be like, hey, how you doing? My name is B-bgrynch. My name's Brian. How are you? And they'll straight look at you like, what the fuck do you want? Well, basically, I want your ass in my bedroom. But, you seem like you have a bit of an attitude, so you can go fuck yourself. How's that? Yeah, man. It's fucking crazy out here. That's why I can't meet girls. I can't meet you women. Okay? Because most of y'all, you're watching this show, you're fucking crazy to begin with. So I try not to hook up. Every time I've hooked up with someone online, it's gone fucking crazy bad. Crazy, crazy bad. So what can I say? It's all bad for me. I sit here single and, I haven't been laid in forever. Now, of course, I always make it seem as though I am constantly getting laid, but to be perfectly honest with you, that's a fib because it's been a while. Although I have taken up a new hobby. It's called masturbation. And I gotta be honest with you, it's something that I didn't do often, but I'm starting to, break in a little bit. It happens to be a lot of fun. There's no trouble. You have to kick somebody out of your house after it. It's great. You should try it sometime. I don't know. Anyway, let's get into our second fucking realm. The booty call. Now, unlike my ex, Elizabeth, who had a lot of fuck friends, I just skipped a complete and utter segment. Fuck buddies comes later. We're going to talk about booty calls. Now, I was in the police academy, okay? This is a great, great fucking story. Okay, you're going to like this one. All right. I was in the police academy here in Broward County. All right. They were hiring so many cops at the time that I was the only academy in the history. You're a closer, Cheyenne? Maybe me and Cheyenne should hook up. I don't know. I got to hook up with a girl that makes the first fucking move. I'm a good trailer. You know what I mean? I'll follow the lead perfectly. And I'll close the fucking deal very well. But as far as being the opener, I don't know. I'm just afraid of somebody yelling rape and slapping. I don't like getting slapped. It's bad. I don't get it. I don't really want to get it. I don't want to get slapped. It's bad. It's very bad. Anyway, I was in the only police academy in the history of Broward County's police academy to go from 3 in the afternoon till midnight. Now, mind you, considering the fact that I'm B-bgrynch, all the girls in that class were in love with me. I dated this black girl that was in that class. Of course, back in the mid-90s, you didn't see very many interracial couples. So when her and I would go out, Sarah doesn't mind making the first move. Well, Sarah, we'll have to fucking meet one day and you can make the first move and we'll see where it goes. But anyway, I'm in the police academy. I dated this black girl, but interracial relationships weren't all that big back then. So everywhere we went, especially black dudes, man, they would look at me like, who the fuck is that white boy dating our black girl? So things got uncomfortable for the both of us, and we both conceded to the fact that it wasn't going to work out because of the public opinion. But we stayed friends, but that didn't stop this girl. Her name was Helen, okay? And she offered one night after school, this is after midnight, to come to my house to clean my carpet. So I'm like, fuck yeah, I need my carpet cleaned. So she shows up at my house about 2 in the morning because after the academy, I would go work out. I would do a little bit of studying with my friend, and I'd come home and shower. So, hence the name. I didn't get that, Tyler. I must have missed it. But we are on a little bit of a delay. What's up, Matthew De Silva? How you doing? Becca, I can't read that paragraph right now. I'm sorry. I'll have to go back and read it. But although I'm at my house, it's about 2:30 in the morning, and this girl, Helen, she shows up with a whole rig to clean my carpet. But she's not here to clean my fucking carpet. She wants to get fucked. But you see, I really needed my carpet cleaned. So I let her clean my carpet. It literally took her 3 hours. She cleaned my entire house, the carpet in my entire house. I no longer have carpet in my house, but hey, I live up to it, Cheyenne. All right? Too shy. Maybe. I am a shy guy. You know, I know it doesn't come across like that on camera, but I'm a fairly shy guy. I'm a gentleman. You might not fucking believe it, but I actually am. Chivalrous fucking guy. I don't like getting slapped. That's all. I got something against getting fucking slapped. But hey, listen, you know what I mean? I'm always up for a challenge. Anyway, this girl comes over. She cleans my whole entire fucking carpet. Now she's looking to fuck. And unfortunately, I wasn't down with that. I just needed my carpet cleaned. So she finishes the carpet, and she's like, oh, I need to take off my shirt. I'm like, listen, we got the academy tomorrow. It's fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. I think we should be going to bed. I think you better make it home in time, you know, so you're not late tomorrow. We got to be in formation at 3 o'clock. And there she went out the door. She was a Jehovah's Witness. When you would sneeze, when I would sneeze, she would be like, Jehovah blesses you. Everything was about Jehovah. It was weird. It was just weird. Like, I could imagine her banging her, and she'd be like, oh, Jehovah, oh, Jehovah, oh, Jehovah. That would just be weird. I wasn't down with it. I don't get it. I don't want to get it. It would have been bad. It would have been real bad. So, yeah, I passed up on that one. But this was a great fucking booty call because, well, let me explain. I was getting tired in my 20s of dating whores, okay? And having one-night stands and having, you know, booty calls. So I wanted to meet a nice girl. I wanted to meet a very nice girl. One that was innocent, one that wasn't down to fuck right away. I wanted a girl that was classy. I wanted to, you know, meet a very, very pristine kind of girl. So the place that I got my hair cut at, okay, now I'm not going to mention any names because she might be watching. She's on my Facebook friend list. She was a receptionist where I got my hair cut. She was very, very pretty girl. Very, very pretty girl. Librarian type of girl. You know, hair up in a bun, glasses, the whole nine. Very, very slim body. So, of course, I say, hey, would you like to, you know, go out sometime, maybe come over, hang out? She's like, fuck yeah, absolutely. So one day I have her over at the house and we're sitting on the couch and I'm not expecting to do anything with this girl because I figure she's a good girl. She's a nice girl and we're having a conversation. And then she abruptly interrupts the conversation and says, so, want me to suck your cock? I'm like, what did this girl just say? This girl just asked me if I wanted her to suck my cock, like out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere. So I'm like looking at her and I'm like, yeah, okay. So I undo my pants and I take them down and she goes down on me and I'm like, this is horrible. This girl, it's probably the first time that she's ever given head in her entire life. And it was like sticking my cock in a cheese grater. It was absolutely horrible. It hurt. It was so bad. Okay. And I had to automatically say, hey, why don't we just fuck? Well, enough of this head stuff. Why don't we just go in my room? So she's like, okay. And we came into my room and I nailed her. It was funny because she had a Band-Aid on her knee. She had a cut. And when I was doing her, obviously doggy style, the Band-Aid came off and the cut kind of opened up a little bit. She got a little bit of blood on my comforter. It got thrown away. Yeah, I'm a little bit weird when it comes to, you know, liquids and diseases and, you know, blood and shit. So, yeah, she got tossed and so did my blanket. She actually came back to help me in a very, very large way. But nevertheless, you know, she got tossed. So the very next morning, I used to listen to a radio show called Ron and Ron. They're the reason why I do what I'm doing today. I got my first job on the radio back when I was 21 years old. I used to be a talk show host on real radio. I don't know if there is real radio anymore. I'd have to be in a car to find out. But I don't think people listen to the radio anymore. But this is back in the days when they had radios. And I was a radio talk show host for a show called none other than Underground Live. I had a co-host by the name of Ray Tyler. And I got the idea that not Ron Brewer, motherfucker, not Paul and Ron, Ron and Ron. Tyler thinking that he knows what I'm talking about, but apparently he has no idea. Anyway. Yes, Becca, librarian in disguise means stripper. But no, she did not have a penis, thank God. The next morning, I go and get into work. I was working security, and I'm listening to the radio. I'm listening to my boys, Ron and Ron. I decided to call them and tell them about my experience with this girl from the previous night. So I call in, and I get on the air, and I'm telling Ron and Ron my story about how I wanted to meet a nice girl, and how this girl looked like a librarian, and she came over to my house, and she came out with, I wanted, give you oral, of course, because you couldn't say suck my cock on the fucking radio. So, she wanted to give me oral. How horrible it was. How horrible and bad it was. It was like my penis got mutilated. Seriously, it was bad. Real bad. Do you know Ron and Ron? They felt my pain so much that they gave me 2 tickets to Metallica. And me and my co-host, we went to Metallica concert. All because of the girl that sucked my cock in the very worst of ways. Yes, got to see Metallica. So, yeah, and Live opened up for Metallica. It was a pretty decent show that I got to go to for free. How cool is that? Absolutely right. Yeah, not so much razor blades as the chewing and the teeth were just, bothersome to my sensitive genitalia, we'll say. Anyway, the third booty call that I would experience was with no other than my ex-wife Adele. Yes, my first wife, Adele. Her and I would have booty calls. She actually, even though she dipped out on my son, she was still responsible for paying me child support. So sometimes I would go into her work. She worked in a dentist's office. And when nobody was there one time, I actually propped her up on a dentist chair and I banged her brains out. It was great. You know why? Because we weren't together anymore. She was with somebody and it was more taboo. So of course, it was more exciting than having sex while we were married. Then of course, she did once or twice bring my son home. She took him for a day. Her boyfriend, who ended up becoming her husband at the time, hated the fact that she had a kid. That's why she didn't come around a whole lot. But at least the 2 or 3 times that she did when my son was an infant, she'd bring him home a day early. And while her boyfriend, whether he was her boyfriend at the time or her husband, was waiting in the car and my son would come home sleeping, I'd nail her in the bathroom. Oh yeah, while the boyfriend, Junior was his fucking name. The reason why they called him Junior, because he was like 6 foot something and fucking huge, okay? Junior actually fucking told me that I called her a whore one time, left a message on my door that if I ever call her a whore again, which she was, because what he didn't know was I was fucking her while he was waiting in the car for her to come down while we were discussing baby business. Nah, she was getting cock from me. But nevertheless, he would be waiting in the car. I would be hitting her in the dentist's office. I'd be hitting her at my house. And then those would be like the booty calls. The expected times that I knew I was going to get laid by my ex-wife. They were very exciting because, like I said, it was more taboo than when we were together. It was exciting, especially with Junior down in the car. When he threatened me, that's when I bought a gun for the first time. Because I wasn't going to go toe-to-toe with Junior. I was just going to fucking put a bullet in his head. It was kind of funny because I went to Coral Springs Police Department and told them, I showed them this letter. If you ever call my girl a whore, H-O-R-E, a whore, H-O-R-E, that's how he spelled it, the dumb motherfucker. It's W-H-O-R-E. But if you ever, you'll be eating lunch out of a fucking straw. The cop is the one that told me, go get yourself a gun. Guy comes to your house, fucking put a bullet in his head. 2 in the chest, 1 in the fucking head. I was like, really? He's like, dude, you have a kid to protect. I'm like, cool, man. I'll do that. When I bought my first gun. It was bad. It was real bad. I don't have that gun anymore. I don't have any guns anymore. Because I'm crazy. I'll shoot somebody. I'll kill somebody. But, yeah. I actually ran into Adele at Baja Beach Club one night. Yes, we were both drunk. It had been a minute since I had seen her. Okay, she was there with her aunt, and we ran into each other. She hadn't seen my son in forever, but we're both drunk, and she was a very attractive girl. I brought her home and banged her. It was great. That time she was actually married to Junior. We came back to my house. She was here for about 2 hours and bounced. It was fun. I had no fucking obligation to her. I didn't care that she didn't see my son. I was actually very relieved that she wouldn't see my son because she was a dipshit. You know, she's cheating on her fucking husband. I don't think she ever cheated on me. And if she did, it was with Junior at the end of our relationship. So fuck him and fuck her. Because I got fucked. Well, not really. Then she stopped paying child support and I never saw her again. But that's okay. Because she actually became $65,000 in child support rearage. But that's a whole other story. Yeah. Now, fuck buddies. Okay. I've actually had only one fuck buddy that I could remember. All right. Unlike my girlfriend, Elizabeth, who I call her my second wife. We were together for like 10 years. She had a lot of fuck friends. Oh, a whole fucking booklet full. Yeah. She had a black book, not for dates, but for fuck friends. And she would utilize that book very often while I was at work. But when I was a single guy in my 20s, I had one booty call that stood out because our booty call relationship, lasted, about a year or two. I'd get home from work, or she would get home from work, and I was actually on the radio at the time. And I'd either call her or she would call me. She was about 5'2", B-cup boobies, 100 pounds, of smoking hot girl. And she lived directly across the street. Royal Palm, I live on the north side. She lives right across the street on the south side, in the apartment complex right across the street from me. It took her 2 minutes to get here. We'd have lots of laughs and lashes, and then we'd have lots of sex. And then I'd tell her, be careful going home, as a joke, because all she had to do was drive her car across the street. Oh yeah, that lasted for about 2 years or so. Then one day, after I got off the police department, I got pulled over, and I told the motorcycle cop, I said, listen, I'm on my way to my lawyer, I'm former law enforcement, cut me a break, I'm in a rush. I really wasn't, but he's like, all right, I'll let you go. And I was on the phone with her. And I told her to hold on. Now, I'm on the other side of Coral Springs, still on the phone with her. And wouldn't you know it, the same cop pulls me over? He's like, I thought you had a lawyer's appointment to go to. So I deemed her bad luck, and I stopped talking to her. All the way until some boyfriend calls me up one day and says, yo, I hear you fucking my girl. I'm like, dude, I haven't seen your girl in fucking years. Yeah, I was fucking her, but no, I'm not fucking her anymore, so go bark up someone else's tree. Yeah. But that was the one booty call that I could remember that I had that was an outstanding booty call that lasted for a good long time. Very, very good. The only thing about her was she talked. We're still friends to this day. She used to talk very, very fast. It was almost, a little bit maybe annoying, and she's aware of this. Then she started taking Xanax, became a whole other person. That Xanax really calmed her ass down. Wish she was on it while we were fucking. Because then, it'd have been a lot more enjoyable. She'd start talking while we were having sex. I just have to shove my cock in her mouth. No, I'm just kidding. And Eden, if you're listening, I'm just kidding. It's just a fucking joke. Don't get mad. Yeah. But I have also had live-in pieces of ass. Do you guys know what a live-in piece of ass is? That is someone that you have no commitment to, that literally lives in your house, that you get to have sex with. Because they're a live-in piece of ass. Like, for instance, my first live-in piece of ass was actually renting my front room after my son went to college. I was getting $400 a month, and I was getting ass from this girl named Casey. And Casey was a smoking hot girl who didn't have a boyfriend, and boy, did I teach this girl some things. Because at that time, I was definitely a sexual deviant, and I taught this girl things that she never imagined that she would do in her entire life. Yes, she learned things from me that she'll take with her for the rest of her life and make guys very, very happy. That was my first living piece of ass. And it was nice, because if I didn't want to have sex, I just watched television. If I did want to have sex, I'd be like, hey, Casey, why don't you come on over here? The thing is that she ended up getting a little bit obsessed with me. She'd get mad when I would talk to girls on the internet, on Facebook. Like, I would end up, getting finished doing a show, and she would get very annoyed with me and be like, why are you always on the phone? Why are you always doing this? Why are you always doing that? And I would have to remind her, I would have to say, Casey, you're my fucking roommate, not a playmate. Unless, of course, I want to fuck. Or she would want to fuck. Sometimes I wouldn't be down with it, sometimes I would. But every time I wanted to, she was always down. Because let's face it, B-bgrynch. She became overly obsessed, and she had to go. Okay? Whereas my other living piece of ass, her name was Christina. She came to live with me for free because she was going to be my housekeeper. Yes, she was going to clean my house and make me dinner and live here for free. And the very first night she came here, she literally came into my bedroom naked, and we had sex. And then we continued that sexual relationship until I couldn't stand her anymore. And then she had to go because she was the kind of girl that would say, hey, listen, you need to watch the movie Casino. If you haven't seen Casino yet, you need to watch fucking Casino. You have to see Casino. Watch fucking Casino. So one day, I pull up Casino on cinema. Wouldn't you know it, from the time that fucking movie starts to the time that movie ends, this bitch would not shut the fuck up. She had to go. I couldn't deal with it. Her constant yabbering and talking. The only time she would not talk was when she was giving me head. Seriously. Hey, she's on my face. She's a Facebook friend. She'll tell you. It's true, Christina. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. But it's absolutely the fucking truth. Living pieces of ass are not always what they turn out to be. Yeah. And, those were the fucking days, and, there are always the very last types of having sex. It's revenge sex, or simply, I'm cheating on my man, I need some excitement in my life. Now, probably my best, Adele would fall under that category, my ex-wife, because she would just want to cheat, with her, on her husband. She would come over here to get a piece of ass because she knew I would give it to her. Elizabeth, my ex-girl, well, she was with a guy. She would come over here for a piece of ass. I give it to her. The taboo thing. This girl, Valerie, she was perfect. She was a 10, Valerie. Okay? Valerie would come over here before I'd have to go to work when I was working, as a cop. I had to call in many a nights because we would run over the time limit that I had before I had to start getting ready for work. And therefore, I'd call in because I'd rather have sex with this girl than go to work. So I'd call in a lot. And Valerie, she had a boyfriend, but her and I were actually kind of like dating on the side. She was a very, very hot girl. And then there was this girl, her name was Alexandra, and she come over for the very first time. Okay? Her and I knew each other from a very, very long time ago. Okay? Long before she had come over. Our kids went to elementary school together. All right? I had met her, ran into her at a gathering, and we became friends again. I hadn't seen her in years, and the first time that she comes over to my house, she's going through, some problems with her husband, and she comes here, and I didn't actually have sex with her at that time, but we fucking went at it, her and I. See, because I'm a gentleman, all right? I really am. This girl I had respect for. I wasn't going to bang her on the very first time she come over to my house. Because I like this girl. She was cool. And the fact that she didn't let me have sex with her the first time. Oh, we had sex. We had a lot of sex. But not the first time she came over. So I had so much respect for this girl, in fact, that she didn't smoke. I would not smoke a cigarette in my house. So I asked her, can we go out front so I could smoke a cigarette? She was like, absolutely. So we're sitting on the floor, on the catwalk, where I bring Stimpy all the time, and where I'm having a cigarette and we're talking. And all of a sudden she says, out of nowhere, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, okay? She says, my husband's here. I'm like, what? She goes, my husband's here. I just heard his brakes. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's silent. There's no noise. I didn't hear anything. She's like, no, I heard his brakes. I could tell his brakes. And I'm like, you know something? This bitch is out of her mind. What do you mean she heard brakes? I didn't hear anything. She heard brakes. There's no one in my parking lot. Well, all of a sudden, I'm not going to say what kind of truck it was, but it was a utility truck. And she was right. Her husband was there. He pulled into my parking lot, and he was pissed. And he was twice my size, and he was mad. But we did not have sex. Therefore, I had nothing to hide. He didn't have to know that I fucking was feeling her boobies and making out with her. But I asked her. I'm a gentleman. I asked her. I said, do you want me to go down and talk to him? Nothing happened. We have nothing to hide. We're adults. She's like, no, I don't think that'd be a good idea. So she went down and dealt with him. This guy put a GPS tracker on her car. He had gotten off of work and followed her by GPS. She knew he was coming as soon as he came down the street that's outside of my complex. She heard his brakes. I didn't hear shit. She has hearing like a fucking rabbit or a dog or whoever has good hearing. No, rabbits have good eyesight. She had a fucking hearing like a dog. Yeah, man. And that was fucking crazy, you know. But we're still friends to this very day. And we did have a sexual relationship. And she was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to have sex with. Having sex with her was very enjoyable. Yeah. So that's about all of my sexual endeavors. That goes for my booty calls, my fuck buddies, my one-night stands, and my live-in pieces of ass. I hope you guys enjoyed my show with my stories. I didn't see any of your stories come up, but I would love to hear from them. If you like to type in your stories, I will definitely read them and answer you back after the show. Now, please, share the fucking show. And listen, not for nothing, but listen to my podcast, Anarchy Media Presents, on Spotify, CastBox, Pocket Cast, Google Cast, Apple Cast, Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public, and Anchor. It's free to download. Just subscribe. And check out my new show coming from Anarchy Media. It's called Smooth Pimpin' Around the World with B-bgrynch. The pilot aired last night, and it did excellent. Excellent it did. But it was a PG version of what the actual show is going to be like. So you guys are going to definitely want to check out Anarchy Media's new presentation, brand new show. Doesn't have a time slot yet, called Smooth Pimpin' Around the World with B-bgrynch, where I pick up women on social media around the world and get into fights with boyfriends. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, thanks for sticking around. It's been 47 minutes that we've been talking about this shit. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And with that, I will bid you adieu. Tune in next Tuesday, same time, same station. Listen out for my podcast, Anarchy Media Presents, on the following stations that I had told you. It's free. Subscribe. And watch out for Smooth Pimpin' Around the World with B-bgrynch. Keep it real, guys. Peace out. All right? Love each other. Thanks, guys.